Okay, so this is going to be on forms using pen for printmaking. First of all, take your paper, fold it in half hamburger style so it opens like a book. Put the fold on the left-hand side, please. And then at the top right, you need your name, first and last, your shelf number, the period, and the date. The top right. Okay, the title of this is Forms and Pen for Printing. This is only going to be for printing. All right, so to give you a little idea of how this works, we will be working on a foam, piece of foam for printing. So what you're going to do is press into the foam with your pen, and it makes an indentation in the foam. It drops it down. So every mark I make with the pen, it looks black right now, but then what's going to happen is that indentation is going to become white. I'm going to roll ink onto my foam, and then I'm going to take and lay my paper on it, press it, peel it off, and it ends up with being white. So every mark I make right now will eventually become white. So press marks into the foam to make it white. You press marks into the foam to make it white. All right, the first basic form we're going to do is rectangular prisms. Rectangular prisms are boxes. So, I need you guys to think of examples of rectangular prisms. All right, so we have several rectangular prisms listed, thought of. Okay, now we're going to write the steps for drawing a rectangular prism. Step 1 is to draw a rectangle. So this first one, we're going to see the front, the top, and the left side. So make sure you have enough room. Don't put it all the way on the edge. So we're going to put a rectangle. It's going to be vertical. Don't make it real big. We have 4 rectangular prisms to fit on this paper, including a shadow, and we have 4 steps to list here. So you don't need to make it real big. Okay, now, step 2. Can't write today. Okay, step 2 is diagonal lines. Okay, if I see the top and the right side for this one, then I've got to draw my diagonal lines off of the top, and they go up and to the right, because it's top and right. So up is for top and right. They all need to go the same direction and be about the same length, and then also off the right side. Well, I've already got this right corner, so I have to get this corner, and it has to go the same direction and be about the same length. To measure to see if they're about the same length, I'm just going to line up the tip of my pen with the corner and put my thumbnail where that line ends. Compare it to the next one, it's pretty close. And the next one. If one is short, then I got to extend the others. I've got to extend it. If 2 are short compared to 1, then I've got to extend both of them so they get about the same length. Step 3 is a horizontal and or a vertical line. The reason I said and or is because sometimes you need both, sometimes you only need one. All right, so this one we need both. We need a horizontal back here and a vertical down this way. Now, if you drew your line correctly, your diagonal lines the same direction, about the same length, you should be able to connect those with a horizontal and a vertical. If this is getting wider down here, that meant that you had a line longer somewhere. Or if this is sticking out farther, then you're not going to get a horizontal and a vertical, you get kind of diagonals. So you got to make sure those diagonal lines all go the same direction and then about the same length. Okay, now, step 4 is to shade using hatching and cross hatching. Hatching lines are parallel lines. Cross hatching is just 2 sets of parallel lines that cross each other. So, if my light is coming from the above left, the top of the box is going to be the lightest. And remember, I've got to press into the foam to make it white. So I'm going to color in this top with lines. I don't have color. I've got to use lines. I'm going to go diagonal that way, and then I'm going to cross hatch, go the other way. Now, it doesn't have to be perfect, but it does need to be as close to solid as I can make it. I'm going to zoom in so you can see my lines there. You can see I'm using lines and not just coloring it in solid. Try to be nice and neat and stay within that rectangle. Okay? The front here is going to be my medium, so I'm going to do some hatching lines that are spread out just a little bit. And this right side is going to be my darkest, so I'm going to really spread out my lines, and I'm going to turn the direction so that they don't get confused as to which side is which. And then the shadow, we're just going to do an outline of the shadow because we want that to be black. So if I colored it in, on the foam, it would be white. So the shadow comes across here, comes down a little bit and across here, and then this diagonal here needs to follow the same direction as this angle here because the light's hitting that angle to cause that shadow. Okay, there's our first rectangular prism. Okay. Second rectangular prism. I'm going to come down here. We're going to see the front, the top, and the left side this time, and the rectangle is going to be laying down. So since I see the top and the left side, I have to go up for top and left for my diagonal. Diagonal, diagonal, diagonal. I need to measure to see if they're about the same length. That one's a little bit short, so I got to make that a little longer. Okay. I'm going to make this just a little longer and this one a little bit longer. Okay, now I need my horizontal line and my vertical line. And my light is still coming from the above left. So I'm going to zoom in here so you can see this better.
Mr. Ideas, would you call the high school office, please?
The top is still going to be my lightest area, so I need the most amount of hatching and cross-hatching lines for this, because remember, this will come out white later on. So I'm going to hatch this direction, and then I'm going to cross-hatch the other direction. Now, if they aren't perfectly parallel, I'm not worried about it. This is drawing. I'm not trying to be perfect. The left side will be my next lightest, so I'm going to spread those lines out a little bit. I'm only going to do hatching. I'm not going to do cross-hatching. And the front side will be my darkest, so I'm going to spread those lines out even farther. Then my shadow is going to come down a little bit across the front there. It's going to come back here a little bit Now this angle here is what needs to depict this angle right here. It needs to match this angle and this angle. This horizontal line came up about halfway up my front rectangle. Okay, so there's my second box. My third box, rectangular prism, is going to be standing, and I'm going to see only the right side. I will not see the top. So it's going to stand up. And it's going to get skinnier. So this time for my diagonal lines, since I only see the right side, off this top right corner it comes down a little bit. And off the bottom right corner it actually goes up a little bit. And they need to be about the same length. And then I need a vertical line only this time. I don't need a horizontal line, I just need my vertical line. And then my light is still coming from the above left. So this front will be like this value over here. So it's hatching lines fairly close together. This side over here will be lighter, so I'm going to spread those hatching lines out. And then my shadow can come down from here a little bit and across. Off this back corner it comes out. And this diagonal is going to go back like that. Kind of follow along this edge down here. So there's my third rectangular prism. And now my fourth rectangular prism is going to be standing, and we're only going to see the top. We won't see any sides or bottom. So I'm going to draw a rectangular prism standing up. Now, my diagonal lines for the top. This one's going to go up and to the right, and this one's going to go up and to the left. And then I only need a horizontal line this time to connect those. That's a pretty small box. I should have drawn it bigger, but that's okay. Draw that a little bit bigger of the box. I'll redraw it here. Up and to the right, up and to the left, and then a horizontal. So it looks like it's going back away from you. The top is still going to be my lightest, so I'm going to cross hatch. The front will be a medium, so I'm going to spread those lines out a little bit. The shadow, about halfway up here, I'm going to go across, down across the bottom, come down a little bit, and across. And this diagonal has to match that diagonal right there. So there's my shadow. So there are my